My name is Kurt Lewis. I'm the Guaranteed Income Program Manager here at United Way. Of course, all of our 80 households have gotten to know you, along with several of our other staff, very well over the last several months, and really honored to meet every single one of you. I know I've met a good number of you in person. Some of you have even met dropping off a check at your house or getting a document from you, and it's been just wonderful. Really an extraordinary group of people that make up this next cohort, for the city of Sacramento. Just want to let you know that you will see that there is a Q&A feature on this webinar. That'll be for later on. Once we have a presentation from Miriam, our good friend Miriam with Safe Credit Union. So just hold off on those questions until during or after that presentation, and we'll try to help facilitate and make sure that your questions get answered in that time. But with that said, I just want to, I'm honored to hand this back over to our leader at United Way, Dr. Dante Earley. So Dr. Earley, I'll let you take it from there.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here with you all tonight. We have come so far with United Way. So my name is Dr. Dante Earley. I am President and CEO of United Way California Capital Region, your United Way. And you all, this cohort is our second cohort of our Guaranteed Income Program. And what we are trying to do every single year that we continue to grow this work, this movement, is to improve, to do our community engagement, to listen to our participants, to figure out what can we do to make this better and stronger for you all. And so I am honored to have you all here with us today. We launched Guaranteed Income in 2021, in July of 2021, with 100 participants. Since then, we have partnered with City of Sacramento this year, and you'll hear from Mayor Pro Tem Mai Vang, as well as Mayor Steinberg on their commitment to this. We had nearly 18,000 applicants, for your 80 slots. And so we truly are blessed to have you all with us. It was a long road, but important for us to be able to do this with you. Of our current participants, 61% of you all have children in your household. 30% are single parents, and 88% of you all are women-led household. And so again, this is just so crucially important to the city of Sacramento and to our residents who need some help right now. We've already heard from you that you are using this money to go towards grocery, to debt repayment, unexpected expenses, rent, and other vital bills. Thanks to our banking partner, Safe Credit Union, for tonight's presentation. You're going to hear about Guaranteed Income, not only for what these vital funds can do, but also what the resources can connect you to, and how we not only Safe, but also United Way can connect you to other services and needs that you may have. In a few moments, you're also going to hear from one of our participants and members of our advisory committee, Therese. And I would encourage all of our participants to continue to communicate to Kurt, as well as potentially join our advisory committee, which is going to be made up of current participants, as well as discussing resources, presentations on how this program could be more helpful for you. City of Sacramento allocated their ARPA funds, $750,000 last year for this program. It will be 12 months, $500 a month. As you all know, we are so pleased to have the City of Sacramento support and the City Council members support. As you can see, Mayor Pro Tem Vang has joined us tonight, and we are now going to hear from Mayor Darrell Steinberg in his video, which is a big supporter not only of this program, of United Way. So Kurt, go ahead and play that video for our participants.
I'm Darrell Steinberg, the Mayor of Sacramento, and I want to take a moment to congratulate the 80 people who are participating in the city's first Guaranteed Income Program. You are going to set a standard and to create a model that I hope will become a permanent part of what Sacramento does, not only for, but with people who are trying to make it. You know, so many people are having struggles. And the idea of guaranteed basic income, which is not new, has been around for a long time, is such a powerful idea that if we can help people just with the basics, then work becomes more meaningful. Being able to afford basic expenses becomes something that is possible. And as I look at our multiple crises in not only Sacramento, throughout the state, homelessness, the high cost of housing, let's take this pilot and what will be its inevitable success, and let's spread it throughout Sacramento, throughout the state, and throughout the country. Guaranteed basic income is an idea whose time is long past due. And thank you for being on the forefront of something that is really important to our city and to our entire society. Very grateful.
So that was our Mayor Darrell Steinberg here in City of Sacramento. And I would be remiss to also not mention that we have partnered with Sac State for our evaluation because you all are sharing your stories, you're sharing how this could be improved, you're sharing how this is changing your life. And that is going to be so important to really extend the policies that you heard about. And so, as I said, we have Mayor Pro Tem Vang here, and I'm going to hand it to her for some remarks on why this program is so important to you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Early. Hi, everyone. I'm just so proud to be here with all of you, just to welcome you all to the Guarantee Income Program, and just really a shout out to our partners at United Way and the fierce leadership of Dr. Early as well. As you heard earlier from our mayor, on behalf of him and the council, all of us have been really strong champion of this program. And as you heard earlier, we fought hard to make sure that we secure funding so that we could expand this program to more residents in the city of Sacramento. And so just a shout out to my colleagues. I know the mayor in particular has fought really hard to make sure that we get these dollars to you. And just some context, I think you heard a little bit earlier from Dr. Early, but in 2021, and really in the midst of the pandemic, our city council did authorize funding to launch this program with United Way, and we know that it's helped so many families. And at the time, I just want to share, because I represent South Sacramento, and at the height of the pandemic, I actually had the zip code of families that had the highest cases of COVID, right? And we saw that many of those families in South Sacramento, like my family, live in large multi-generational households, right? Led by women in the family. And so that when one person is, one person has COVID, it spreads to the entire family. And so what happened was that many folks lost their jobs, and what families just really needed was that financial support to really help them, right, with loved ones in the hospital, cover next month's rent, put food on the table. And many of you may know, but a new stat just came out that for every one person we house, 3 more enters the system. And I actually see this program as vital and as prevention to ensure that we keep our families inside their homes. And so I know I've seen firsthand how these dollars have helped families and how it's made an economic impact in key transitions of their life. And so I know that these dollars may not solve all the issues happening, right? But coming from a large family, I'm the oldest 16 kids. I know the basic needs that needs to be handled, needs to be taken care of in order to take care of a family. And so I know that these dollars can really uplift families and uplift all of you. Again, I'm just really excited. I actually would love to meet the cohort. Hopefully I get a chance to meet all of you, all our 80s I think there's 80 families that are in this program. And so I'm just really excited to meet all of you. And really, want to learn more about how this program will continue to help your family. How I see it is that, yes, it's 80 families, and we still have so many more families that need the support. But if we can help this cohort and help many of our hardworking families achieve financial security, and if we can improve their overall health and well-being, then I know that we are in a better position as a city to really uplift those families that are most in need. And so just shout out, congratulations on being accepted into the program, and just a shout out to United Way just for your heart, your hustle, and putting everything together to make sure that we can get these dollars out to our families who need it the most. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Vang. I'm always inspired when I hear you. So thank you for joining us. I can feel the commitment and passion, and we will absolutely, as we have our advisory committees, we will make sure to invite all of you all out so you can meet all of our participants, because all of you, including you, Mayor Pro Tem Vang, are now part of the United Way family. And once you're part of the family, you're always part of the family. So thank you so much. With that, I'm actually going to pass it on to Kurt.
All right, thank you so much. Well, as Dr. Early mentioned, we have the privilege to take a few minutes to get to hear from one of our members of our cohort. So Therese has joined us, and Therese, good evening. And we're really honored that you were willing to share for a few minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Well, just a couple of questions. Had you heard about guaranteed income before you heard about this particular program?
When I first heard about the guaranteed income program, I heard about the cohort that came out of Stockton and with Mayor Tubbs there, where they had randomly selected 125 participants there to receive their $500 gift, if I would call it, for 2 years of the program. And so I heard about that then, but I was really excited about hearing that Sacramento was offering the program as well.
Yeah, how did it feel when you found out that you were one of the 80 selected out of those nearly 18,000 applicants?
I was really, really, really excited, to be very honest with you. I thought to myself when I applied, you know, is there a possibility? And then I had the why not me? You got to get in it to win it, right? And so I just put it in there, said a prayer, and I was really, really happy, Kurt, to receive your email.
I was happy to send it. It was really wonderful just to talk to each of those 80 households and share this good news with them. You know, I know that one of the things that also came from those conversations was hearing about real struggles that people had. And I know that in some of our conversations, myself and another staff member, that you've talked about how, you know, debt, which can happen to anybody. It doesn't take that much, just sometimes within a matter of months or just a few decisions. And before you know it, you have what seems like insurmountable debt that you're facing. Tell us a little bit more about your experience there and what you're hoping to accomplish over the course of this next year, now that you have some additional resources coming your way.
Sure, absolutely, Kurt. So for me, I would just like to share with the panel that I am a mother who has spent years, countless years of prioritizing the needs of others over my own well-being. And with this program, I am going to be able to focus on my health, my emotional well-being, and with my debt management. So when I previously shared once before, I'm an open book, so I don't mind share. I had two big things that are going on. One is that I'm currently trying to do a debt resolution or offer a compromise with the IRS. And I had a very, very large amount of debt that was owed to them, but it stems back well over 14 years. And I'm currently in a position to where I am going to be beyond blessed with the amount of debt that is going to be offered and compromised for me there. So this program is actually going to help me pay that off within one payment versus doing over the 5-month payment there. And then also just debt in terms of credit cards, right? So at one point I was a full-time employee, was laid off, was off for 2 years. And I went from living, you know, on a 6-figure income into just living off of savings and then living off of my credit card. And then just having to get a job and have to pay it all back, right? But the good news for me is that I was able to pay it off, but sometimes with the minimum payments, and you know, if you make minimum payments, it takes a very long time to get out of the situation that you may be in. So I'm very thankful and blessed to be able to be a part of this program so I can move forward.
Wonderful. And lastly, you know, we sent out an email, a call not too long ago. One of my colleagues, Genevieve Levy, and I've shared with a number of you about opportunities for you and the other members of our cohort to also lend their voice to this program over this next year. It could be willingness to share a few words, or written words, or share on video, whether it be to local media or on social media. But also we're looking for 5 individuals to be a part of an advisory council who I'll be meeting with on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, just to get some feedback, as well as hear thoughts and opinions that are going to help formulate these future webinars that we're going to have once a month throughout the course of this cohort. Tell us a little bit more about why you decided to be one of those 5 and what you're excited about with that opportunity.
Sure, absolutely. So when I received that portion of the email, I was really super excited about the opportunity to serve on the Guarantee Income Program Advisory Committee with 4 others. Because I am a leader in my own right, and I like to help others in the community as well, since I work in community service. And one thing I happen to know from working in community service, community centers, is sometimes people are very afraid to speak up, or people are ashamed and sometimes even embarrassed because of whatever their financial situation can possibly be. But one model that I did like when I was speaking with you guys was that to look at this as a hand up rather than a hand out, right? Because this program is going to empower the recipients financially and provide support to them. So for me, I don't want anyone to feel like, someone to just giving us something. We should really look at the opportunity that whether you're needing it for food, to maintenance your car, to get out of financial debt, maybe even take a trip. Maybe you just have been overworked for so long, you don't have the extra expense to do something nice for yourself for a savings. I think it's a really wonderful opportunity to have that, but be a voice that we can connect within this cohort itself.
Wonderful. Well, Therese, thank you again for being willing to share. I was inspired and challenged by what you had to share. I'm sure, I trust that everybody else who was on this call, on this webinar, feels the same way. And we look forward to hearing more from you. So thank you again.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I look forward to it.
All right, wonderful. So, next we get to, we're going to invite a good friend of ours, Miriam Doherty with Safe Credit Union. She's going to come on screen here in just a minute and share with us a little bit. And like I said, we do have the Q&A feature that is there, that as she shares, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A. And then we'll do our best, myself and one of my other colleagues, Brandon, to monitor that and send those questions on to Miriam as she presents. But so Miriam, take it away.
Thank you so much, Kurt. Hello, everyone. So as Kurt mentioned, my name is Miriam Doherty. I am a financial wellness educator with Safe Credit Union. So thank you so much to the United Way for inviting us and allowing us to be a part of this experience that I believe is going to be truly transformative for the cohort, and hopefully it meets all of their financial needs. If not, hopefully it sets them up for financial success. So this presentation in particular is going to cover the banking basics with Safe Credit Union. As we go through this journey together, we are going to talk about many different financial education topics that are pertinent to financial success and financial freedom. Those topics include budgeting, building credit, and understanding the importance of it and what it's like to repair that. Also understanding debt management and different techniques on how to either recover from debt and or just to help you get by. Also saving with a purpose, and then also understanding why we buy what we buy. So diving into the psychology of why we spend the way that we do, and hopefully be able to reprogram and reshape some of our spending habits. So for this presentation in general, we're going to cover or help you get a better understanding of the credit union difference, which is really important because there is a lot of misconceptions when it comes to credit unions and bigger banks like commercial banks that I will not name in this presentation. But it's really important to understand who you are, how you are now a member, and what does it mean to be a Safe Credit Union member. So we're going to understand or go through the philosophy of service, because we are all about people helping people and serving them to the best of our abilities. We want you to understand what it means now to not only just be a member of Safe Credit Union, because you are not just a member, you are now a part owner of a not-for-profit organization. We're going to dive into what it means to safeguard your money. So understanding what insurance looks like on the credit union side and on the commercial banking side. We're also going to talk about the differences between a checking account versus a savings account, because as we go forward with managing our finances and managing the money that we will be receiving in this cohort, it's really important to identify what account is best for you and your lifestyle. And that answer might be different for a lot of you. We're going to talk about what account features are available to you as a Safe Credit Union member, and also understand saving basics and the different options you have to be able to grow your money and maximize your earnings, whether that be through certificates or money market savings accounts. So let's go ahead and dive into the history of credit unions and our philosophy of service. So the credit union movement began with a simple idea that people could achieve a better standard of living for themselves by pooling their savings and making loans to their neighbors and coworkers. So as you drive along Sacramento itself, there are a ton of different credit unions around, and each credit union started with a purpose, whether it was to help their fellow educators in their schools, whether it meant to help out their county or their community specifically, or public serve or peace officers or public service members. Credit unions were built to be able to support one another and be able to uplift their communities. And that is one of the philosophies that Safe Credit Union shares with all of our fellow credit unions in our area. So as I mentioned before, we are people helping people, and there is a misconception when it comes to credit unions, because credit unions, yes, are local. The misconception is because they are smaller, they have less access to their money. And I'll tell you what, because we are all friendly in the philosophy of credit unions, the truth of the matter is that credit unions work together to allow their members access to 10,000 plus branches nationwide. This is through a co-op system that stems from a legacy of exceptional service and meeting communities where they are at, rather than vice versa. So no matter if you grow out of this town, grow to a different state, or even a different country, you still have the ability to keep your money where it's at and us meet you where you are. As I mentioned before, you are not just a member. You are now a part owner in a not-for-profit organization. And what that means is we want to hear from you. We need to hear from you in order for us to make big decisions on your behalf, on your community's behalf. We have volunteer board members who you as a member are voting in. These volunteer board members are individuals who volunteer their time free of charge, who know your communities and know where our profits should go, in the form of programs like this one, in the form of higher dividends in your savings accounts and lower interest rates on loans that you need. When it comes to commercial banks, you are not a member, you are a customer. And although they provide the same services that a credit union does, the profits that they make do not go back into the community. They do not go back into their customers' banks. Accounts. They go back to the shareholders and stock owners who invest in their business in order to keep it going. The board members that they have are paid board members who are not a part of your community, who are not voted in, and who are making decisions, vital decisions on your behalf, in the forms of having to raise fees, convenience fees, for allowing you to have a lower than ideal threshold of money in an account. The dividends do not look the same, and nor do the loan rates. So that is definitely the credit union difference. And as an added perk, as I've mentioned before, we are not for profit, which means that credit unions operate to promote the well-being of their members. Not for profit means that credit unions offer rates, loans, and savings accounts. So when we talk about the credit union difference and how commercial banks and credit unions both operate the same in terms of offering the same type of products and services, there is a misconception that because we are smaller, credit unions do not have the ability to protect one's assets as a larger commercial bank may. But the truth of the matter is that credit unions' deposits are insured by the National Credit Union Administration. So let's go ahead and dive into those specifics and what they look like. So when it comes to a credit union, we are insured by the NCUA, and the NCUA is responsible for monitoring and regulating credit unions in order to protect their members and their members' assets. Deposits are insured up to $250,000 per account and per member. When it comes to commercial banks, they are also insured. However, their insurance is through the FDIC, which works similarly to the NCUA. And the FDIC was created after the Great Depression happened to promote a trust in the banking system, because as we learned with the Great Depression, many banks fell. And along with that fall, the people who trusted these banks to safeguard their money were unable to recoup their hard-earned money. So like the banks, they also fell into turmoil when it came to being able to build up some people their life savings. Deposits, when it comes to the FDIC, are also insured up to $250,000 per account and per customer. So when we talk about the ideal account for you and you identifying what will benefit your lifestyle, what will benefit your income, what will benefit your savings goals and your expenses, it's really important to identify a checking versus a savings account. Now, a checking account is meant for everyday use. It is what you use in order to make purchases, pay bills, withdraw funds. You are able to make purchases either through a Visa debit or a Visa MasterCard. You're able to make deposits, withdrawals, cash transactions. You're able to write checks. You're able to digitally pay your bills through bill pay and transfer money over to people. Like I mentioned before, your checking account is meant for that everyday movement of your money. So if you are responsible for bills, it is very important that you have a checking account, especially if you are earning an income. We'll talk about what the features are of having an account in just a moment. When it comes to a savings accounts are meant for that. Saving. They are not meant for everyday transactions. And in fact, if you find that you are going over the limits when it comes to transferring money over to different accounts or withdrawing funds from your savings account more than 6 times a month, I really advise you to re-look at your account and see what the activity is and why you are withdrawing so much or so often, because then you become at risk of having that savings account closed and then it converted into a checking account. So really reevaluate what your expenses or what expenses you are taking on that is causing you to consistently withdraw from those accounts. So when we talk about services, there are many services that are offered with every financial institution, but I'm going to specifically dive into the ones that SAFE offers. So SAFE offers you the ability to access your money and your accounts wherever and whenever and wherever you are. You have the ability of downloading the app through your phone, or if you are comfortable utilizing your desktop, then you are able to log on that way. You're also able to call us, to chat with us, to set up an appointment and speak to a relationship officer in person. When it comes to a checking account, it is really important, especially if you are receiving any type of aid, any type of funds from an employer, that you set up direct deposit. There is a huge difference when it comes to receiving a check in hand versus having the money there as soon as you wake up the day of payroll. Speaking as a mother of 2 little ones who consistently have me busy, direct deposit really does save me the time from having to go into my financial institution, cash the check, and then deposit it, or just deposit it directly. It also saves me the temptation of going to a check cashing place where then I'm getting charged $10 to $20 by every $100 bill that I am receiving. Then the other feature is by paying your bills at a touch of a finger. You're able to set up your bills either through SMUD or PG&E, through your cell phone, all through your account. And you can either set up automatic bill pay or pay it manually. But nonetheless, all of your accounts are all on one page, and you're able to make those payments directly through your checking account without you having to worry about going to each place or mailing off a check to each entity. And then we have SafePay, and SafePay is my favorite thing because I do tend to split expenses with either my friends or my family members whenever we're going out to eat, or if somebody needs to cover the cost of my son's baseball game or whatever the case is. I am able to directly transfer them money from my checking account directly to their account, either by inputting their phone number or their email address. So it's a very convenient feature that allows you to transfer money to somebody in real time. So when we talk about savings, there are a multitude of different types of savings accounts that you can participate in. There's a regular savings account, which since all of y'all are already members of Safe Credit Union, you have. So regular savings account is really good for short-term savings goals. And we're going to dive into what the savings goal timeline looks like. But for right now, we're just going to go through these accounts. So it's really great for short-term savings accounts. It is backed by the NCUA, as are all of these accounts. It is deemed liquid assets because if you need the money in real time, you are able to withdraw it from either an ATM or going into a financial institution to do so. It is your money. It's not like a loan. You are able to use it how you wish to do or to go about. It is great if you are starting out your savings journey because there is no binding type of understanding like a certificate. If you need the money, it's there, you can take it out. Then we have our certificates, which is really good for midterm to long-term goals. And the reason why I say that is because with certificates, there is a term that you have to reach in order to take out your money without any type of penalty. Typically, the shortest term that I've seen when it comes to a certificate is about 3 months, but I'm sure there are many different promotions that are offered that you can dive into. There is usually a requested deposit amount. Sometimes you will see 500, sometimes you will see 150. It really just depends on the promotion. When it comes to certificates, there is a higher rate of return because you are not touching your money for a certain period of time. So they are keeping your money there. There is a little bit higher of a deposit. But the good thing is with the certificate, it is a lower rate in risk as opposed to somebody who is investing like in the stock market. You are guaranteed a return as long as you meet the term and you're not withdrawing the funds beforehand. Then as an upgraded savings to our regular savings account, we do have our money market savings, and that does require a higher deposit amount. However, there is a higher rate of return than that of the regular savings. As I mentioned before, all of these are backed by our NCUA insurance. Unlike certificates, but very much like regular accounts or the regular savings account, this is a liquid asset as well. So you are able to withdraw your funds whenever you need and whenever you please. Just note that unlike a regular savings account, there is a deposit threshold that you need to maintain in order to maintain that type of savings account. So we talked about a regular savings having a short term and a certificate having a mid to long term, and then a money market. So when it comes to saving money, you really have to have your why right in front of you. And the reason why I say that is because unless you save with a purpose, you are not going to remain consistent and you are not going to remain motivated. As we know, life will derail us many times over, and it is very hard to get back on that train, especially if we do not have the motivation in front of us. If we do not begin with the end in mind, it is very, very difficult to get back on. So it's important to identify, why am I saving? What is the purpose? Be realistic with your goal and how long it's going to take you. And that is really dependent on how much money is coming in and how much money is coming out, i.e. your budget, or otherwise known as your spending plan. And as we dive further into these presentations, we'll talk about how to build a strong budget and to learn how to save with a purpose. For now, we have our short-term goal, which is 0 to 1 year. And typically these are things like a trip, a vacation, back to school is coming up. So you know that you need to save a little bit of money for a certain amount of time in order to buy the proper supplies that your student needs in order to be successful. Maybe it's time to replace that cell phone. This is a perfect timeline for somebody to be able to save money for those things. When we talk about midterm goals, it's typically 1 to 5 years, and that looks like a down payment on a car or a security deposit on a rental property. Maybe you're trying to go on a bigger vacation that you know is going to take you more than a year to be able to save for. Then we have our long-term goals, and I see that we have purchasing a home as a midterm goal, but I'm going to swipe that one right over to our long-term goal. And the reason why I say that is because our long-term goals are our investment in us. These are the things that are going to build up our net worth. They're going to build up our financial portfolio in the long run. And that looks like buying a home, being able to save for that down payment, saving for your retirement, saving to start a business or to invest in yourself when it comes to saving for higher education. These are all things that are eventually going to lead you to your financial freedom and not have to worry about how you're going to pay the next debt, because you have these assets that you can utilize to cover yourself if and when the time is necessary. So when we talk about savings, it really is important to understand what growth really looks like. So we're going to cover growth and compound interest. So in addition to protecting your assets, growing your assets should be top of mind. So whatever you're trying to save for and build up to be able to accomplish that savings goal, note that whatever savings vehicle you choose is going to help you achieve that maybe faster than you even anticipated for yourself. So savings accounts are meant to push your financial journey forward and help your money grow. Savings accounts are use compound interest to do this. So we'll dive into what that looks like in just a second. Compound interest is when you earn interest on both the money you have saved and the money you are earning in dividends or otherwise interest. With this, there is an annual percentage yield. And as we know, if we've borrowed any money, we're used to hearing APR. Now, APR is the interest that we pay our lenders and our financial institutions for loaning us money. But APY is the money that the financial institution gives back to you for having a certain type of savings account. So as an example, if you deposit $300 into your regular savings account with an APY of 0.05%, because that APY is projected to earn a certain percentage, it assumes that you are keeping those funds in your account. It assumes that you're keeping that $300 in your account. And if you deposit no more than $300 at the end of the year, that $300 will turn into $3.15. Now, that might not seem like a lot, but the hope is that you are going to build your savings so that then that extra 15 cents will turn into a lot more in compound interest. So as you add more money through the year, your potential to earn goes up. So when it comes to determining the right account for you, it's really important to ask yourself these following questions when it comes to savings accounts specifically. What type of savings account do I have right now? What is the APY on that? How often do I plan to deposit money? And by no means are we saying you should deposit $10, $20, $5, even $1 every day. I guarantee you, if you deposit a little bit at a time when you can, and when it will not overstretch your budget, you will earn money. You will see that growth. It just takes a little bit of determination and a little bit of patience. Another question to ask yourself is, how soon will I need access to these funds? So that's really crucial, especially if you're thinking about going for a certificate versus a regular savings account or a money market. If an emergency expense comes up, would those funds come from that savings account? And we won't dive in too much into this right now for the sake of saving time. However, it is really important that you identify that there's a difference between a savings account with a savings goal and having an emergency savings account. As Mayor Pro Tem Vang mentioned, when it comes to COVID, most of us probably didn't have enough money to cover 3 to 6 months worth of essential living expenses to get by. And a lot of us lost our primary household income, and or it was cut in half, and or it was very limited the amount of money that we were receiving. So that emergency savings account, if COVID taught us anything when it came to money, is very, very important to have. It's a very important thing to have a cushion so that it's not keeping you up at night, whether you're going to be able to put food on the table or not. So in conclusion, a credit union difference. Consider a credit union for higher rates of returns when it comes to your dividends on your savings accounts and competitive loan rates, because we are known for that as a credit union. When it comes to account types, checking versus savings, stay informed. There are an abundance of different types of checking accounts. There are an abundance of different types of savings accounts that you can utilize that might be different from that of your neighbor, but it will benefit you because of the lifestyle that you are leading. Review our rates if you are interested in learning more about how to build up your dividends through safecu.org, and visit our financial wellness hub. You'll probably see myself, my awesome boss, Hector, and my lovely coworker, Savannah, who is also a financial wellness educator. On that hub, you'll be able to find some budgeting tips and tools, as well as some worksheets that you can utilize. And go to our next workshops. We teach workshops on a regular basis on different topics. I know that our next topic that we plan to teach with your cohort is covering budgeting and how to build a budget, and then also understand the importance of credit and building that credit and repairing that credit. So if you are not already a member of Safe Credit Union, which all of you are, but if you have a neighbor that you think would benefit from being a member with us, there are simple ways to do that. And there are simple ways for you to connect with us. You can either give us a call, you can go to our website, and or you can schedule to meet with one of our relationship officers and visit them in person at one of our branches. And as I mentioned, we have an abundance of different financial education topics that we teach on a regular basis. So if you ever want to join us, you are more than welcome to.